Hello, Bizarre Story friends. If you're tuned in now, you are listening to the Bizarre AF, a place where we talk about the strange, the unusual, the unknown, and all things Bizarre AF. I'm Alesha, your hostess for today's episode. And as always, we ask that you keep an open mind, keep a skeptical ear, but keep on listening to those facts as we take you on our newest journey. Sasquatch the Kidnapper? Kevin, my co-host with the most. How are you, little camper?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I can't complain. Yeah. Pretty happy. We're coming up to some summertime activities.
Yes,
right?
Makes me happy.
And we live in the beautiful state of Colorado.
The best.
There's no other place I think better
Agreed.
to explore. Spots.
Outdoors, four seasons.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Are you much of an explorer?
Yeah, I do. Not as much as I would like to do it, but yes, I do like to explore.
What do you like doing here in Colorado?
Boy, I just love being in the mountains, and I love the smell of the woods, and it's so close. It's so easy to get to.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm an avid skier, so I love the winter for that reason. But the summer and the greenery in Colorado, it's great. Hiking. I don't like to do big hikes, but some
moderate
nice
hikes.
Strolls through the forest.
Nice strolls. No, so you're not backpacking and packing all your stuff with you.
No.
Do you have hiking boots?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you much of a camper?
No.
Okay.
I've glamped. I
okay.
like glamping.
Okay.
I won't do it a lot, but
Sure.
glamping, I can handle glamping.
Is your thing?
Yeah.
What does
chandeliers in the tent, puffy pillows and candles and
For real?
grills and electric skillets. Yeah.
Are you serious? Like a chandelier in a tent?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're really not kidding when you say glamping.
Lamp. Like you have a little generator, solar generator for, you store up the batteries and you have
Can
your
you
little
do that
lamp.
here?
Sure.
Oh yeah. I thought glamping was like, give me a cabin with running water.
No, glamping is camping just at a real high level. Elevated.
Yeah, definitely elevated. Okay, so I get your taste.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You would do that too, I bet.
Oh, for sure I would do it. You know what? I always want to say that I am one of those people, in my heart of hearts, I want to be a person who can be off grid.
Be rugged.
And do the things and experience nature and be one with it and, camp in or pack in, pack out, all that stuff.
Yes.
But I like running water.
Yes.
I like my sleep.
Yes.
And I've notoriously
hot
showers, a toilet, very important.
Yes.
I've had, that's my number one issue is just the toilet and running water situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't, I'm not going to sleep. There's no way of sleeping unless I'm in a glamping situation.
Right. Foam mattress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A mattress. One of the last times I went camping, we had an inflatable mattress.
Yeah.
And it's had a slow leak.
Yes. By the time you wake up, you're on the hard ground.
Yeah.
Been there.
3 a.m. I'm awake. I'm freezing. I'm very ill prepared.
Yes.
Because this is not my thing.
Yes. You're cold.
Cold. It's just not. It's something I want. Maybe in my older age, I'll be less of a princess, but
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. Give me my crown.
Yeah. Right. Wear it with pride.
Well, a lot of people here they travel specifically for camping, right?
Indeed.
They'll travel for camping or for skiing or snowboarding, and we're so lucky to have national parks right in our backyard.
Yes.
Ultimately,
yes.
right? I'm actually today wearing a Smokey the Bear prevents forest fires.
Only you can.
Yeah, only you can prevent forest fires. Sweater, because I thought, why not cover some theories that have been going on around national parks?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're aware of this. Well, one, I'll just start off with talking about national park systems.
Sure.
So have you been to any national parks, Kevin?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, which ones have you been to?
Well, so the Rocky, there's been a few national. I don't know the names, but in Colorado there are several.
Mm-hmm.
You go up to Estes Park, and there is entrances to
Rocky Mountain.
Which, if anyone has never gone up there, there's a road. I think it's the tallest paved road in the world.
Like
or
Mount
United
Evans
States
or whatever. Or?
But you actually, like, when you start driving up there, it looks like you're on the moon because you're way above the tree line, and then you come back down. But it is the most gorgeous part. It's like the part of the world. It's like gorgeous. But anyway, so I've done that national park. There was one big in California, Big Sur over there, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone's in Wyoming.
Oh yeah, what's the one that's down south? In
Yosemite.
Yosemite. Yeah. So a few there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to some. I'm actually going to be going next weekend to Yellowstone for the very first time.
Okay.
Have you been to Yellowstone?
No.
I haven't either. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be great. It's like an 8-hour drive from us, something like that, in Denver. But the United States actually has 63 national parks, and the national parks are really designated areas that are protected by, the United States, and is operated by the National Park Service, which is an agency of the Department of Labor.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea behind these national parks, which we're so lucky in the United States that we have a lot of these, a lot of countries don't. And there have been, people who have built over beautiful, diverse ecosystems.
Sure.
But the idea is, you have these areas of natural beauty and diverse ecosystems that we're trying to save. And so there are a lot of rules around recreation. Even if you're going camping, there are a lot of rules around it. And it's just really to keep the beauty of the parks. And what they say, it's really because of some outstanding scenic feature or natural phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
So Yellowstone, they have Old Faithful, like the geysers and stuff. So as far as the national parks go, they don't allow hunting. So the ecosystems are, protected.
Yep.
They have specific activities that are limited. So you can't just like bring your 4-wheeler and like ruin, the terrain. The national monuments, though, which are different, are protected for a historic or archaeological significance. So multiple national parks within our country.
Yeah.
The first one was actually Yellowstone. So Yellowstone is what created it all. And it was signed into law by Ulysses S. Grant, the president, in 1872. To be the very first national park. No building, no commercial, anything. So beautiful. We have to just save these areas.
Sure.
So all over the country, we have these. And over 30 states have national parks. Lots of people go to enjoy them. Even during the pandemic, I don't know if you remember, there was like a huge issue because people just wanted to get out of their houses.
Yes.
Millions of people, like we're talking millions over what they normally would have at these national parks, were coming to go camping or, hike and explore the natural beauty around them because you couldn't travel anywhere.
Yeah, and you couldn't be inside. I mean, you could be inside your own house, but nowhere else. So what was your only option? Go outside into the great outdoors.
The great outdoors. Yeah. So people started becoming hikers and stuff. And one thing that I've always wondered about is how many people just are lost on hikes, right? Like either, they go on a hike, they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. They, it's a huge problem.
I've done that.
You have?
It's frightening.
How long were you missing for?
Well, fortunately, I was with 3 other people, so it was 4 of us. We went on this hike. We got lost. And fortunately, we had some cheese and a bottle of wine, so we were okay. But I don't know, a couple hours.
How did you guys find your way back?
We just kept walking down the mountain, tried to find valleys, and we're like, eventually we've got to run into a road somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we did, and then we just followed the road. So it wasn't too bad. But that feeling of being lost is uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
Yes.
And you're trying to not lose your shit,
yes,
right?
Yes.
At least you had other people with you.
Exactly.
Which is
why
nice.
It's important. If you're going to go do these things, do them with other people.
Yes. Yeah. Or at least, have some kind of an idea of what the fuck you're doing.
Or have some sort of a device or something where if people can find you, know where you are. Like technology is good.
I mean, but a lot of the problem now is a lot of these national parks don't have cell phone coverage or service, right?
Right.
So you have satellites and stuff like that, makes it easier, but they're kind of like dead zones.
Yeah, true.
Technology is becoming better, and these dead zones are fewer and far between, but they exist. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to have cell phone service at a
right.
BFE, in Yellowstone? No. No one's there, right? It's a massive park. So it's 2021, we were talking about how many people would go and visit the national parks. More than 92 million visitors were recorded as being there. It's well over that, but they recorded about 92 million.
So the people being reported as lost probably went up dramatically.
Yeah, I mean, overall, people have become like, you have these disappearances in these national park systems. And we're going to talk about a couple today, but there's some really strange coincidences that occur with these missing people.
Okay.
And a lot of people end up trying to make sense of it, piece together the information, and try to see what the heck is going on here.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about first the disappearance of Dennis Martin. So Dennis Martin was a small boy. He was born in June of 1962, and he had disappeared in June of 1969. So 7 years old, almost 7 years old. And this was in the Great Smoky Mountains, which is a national park in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually one of the biggest search efforts in the park's history. Over 1,400 searchers at over 56 square miles were searching for this kid.
That's needle in a haystack.
Total needle in a haystack. And there are only so many search methods that you can have. But what ended up happening was Dennis and his family they're from Knoxville, but they're visiting the Great Smoky Mountains with his father, grandfather, older brother for Father's Day weekend. And it was actually like, camping in this area was a tradition for this family around that time for Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would hike from a place called Katie's Cove to Russell Field, and then they would camp overnight. This had happened multiple times, multiple years with this kid, because it was a yearly thing. The following day, they would hike to Spence Field, which is near the Appalachian Trail, where they would spend the night. They would spend the night there. So he actually disappeared on June 14th at 4:30 while they were planning on surprising adults with his brother and some other children. There was a separate family who was going camping with them.
Mm-hmm.
He was last seen by his father. His father's organizing stuff in the campsite, probably getting together food, making sure they have enough, making sure that the tent is properly set up. Do we have our water?
Lots to do. Another reason I don't like camping.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to stoke the fire, make sure we have enough firewood, make sure it's protected. All of your trash is in an area. So he's in the area right next to his father. His father's, just messing around with the campsite, and he sees his son right behind some bushes, and he's hiding. He's trying to play hide and seek or hide to surprise these adults.
Mm-hmm.
So Dennis crouches behind a bush, and his dad didn't see him for about another 5 minutes. And when all the other kids came back and all the adults came, he realized that his son was not accounted for. He saw him crouch behind a bush, and then he seemed to disappear. His dad's freaked out, rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to my kid? Where is he? Is he still trying to hide? All these things are going through his head. So he runs down the trail for nearly 2 miles. This guy was a fit dude, right? But also adrenaline. So he's running, trying to find his child, because this is not like his kid. He knows, his child knows what to do. They've done this before. They've been camping before. It's not like him to not respond when he's calling his name for help. He's continuing to run 2 miles until he's like, sure, there's no way that little Dennis could have gone that far. So after several hours of searching the whole campsite, everyone is searching, all the family is, they contact the National Park Service rangers. And we've all seen the rangers, right? They come through, make sure that you're not, doing shit you shouldn't be doing, make sure everything's safe. So the area that Martin disappeared is marked with a bunch of slopes and ravines. It's pretty steep, right? So there are tons of animals because once again, there is a limit on hunting. Yeah. So you have bears, you have copperhead snakes, you have feral hogs, which feral hogs are
mean.
They're mean and they're dangerous.
Yeah.
They're really dangerous. And there's also bobcats in the area. So shortly after Martin goes missing, crouches down behind that bush, it starts to downpour. A huge storm comes in. And it dropped actually 3 inches of rain in hours, just a matter of hours. And that caused trails in the area to be washed out. And then the streams in the area that were around those ravines, they started to flood.
This is after they can't find him, Dennis?
Right after.
Right after.
So within a matter of hours, it starts raining.
Okay.
It starts getting even more, more and more rain falls down.
Yeah.
Everything starts, they're still searching, of course, for the child.
Right.
But 3 inches of rain drop in hours, and that's a lot of rain.
Wow.
It's a ton of rain. So it washes out all those trails and floods, these streams. The temperatures start, going down the night of June 14th, and it dropped down to June 14th. I mean, in Tennessee, it's like, it's pretty warm.
Yeah.
It gets down to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's 10 degrees Celsius. So it drops down. This is a 6-year-old boy, right? That didn't have, maybe he was wearing a sweatshirt, but he didn't really have much that he was wearing, right? People are looking for him, right? Everyone's freaked out. And you have this storm that comes in.
Right.
But there are questions that come up. What the hell happened to this kid? We are trying to find him. We can't find him. His dad saw him crouch below, like behind, he was 5 feet away, crouched behind a bush.
Yeah.
Trying to hide, to joke around. And he just seemingly disappeared.
Yeah. Like he couldn't have gotten far.
Yeah, he couldn't have gotten that far. His dad ran for 2 miles.
Yeah.
Shouting his name. You would think that he would hear or
him.
respond.
Yeah.
Right after. It's not like, he was waiting like for 2 hours before he started looking for him.
Exactly.
It was 5 minutes. If that. It was probably shorter than that, right? Like,
wow.
That he starts freaking the fuck out. So, their search is on. And despite the weather and the issues that are happening, they have a separate search going on. We have the park rangers, the National Park Service, Dennis's family, and the National Guard and the Green Berets come in because they're like, this is not good. We don't want this like bad publicity with, our national park system.
Sure.
And he's a little boy.
Yeah.
A cute little boy.
Right.
They couldn't find any trace of him. These are Green Berets and the National Guard. Like, these are people who know. they're hunters who are here. They know how to find people's whereabouts. They can track animals just by the way the sticks break.
But this wasn't a flat area. You said he in theory could have fallen down a cliff, right?
He could have fallen down a cliff, but they weren't even finding any broken branches. They weren't finding a sock. There was no sock. There was nothing. There was no trace of this little boy. No footprint or hair or
of course,
bones
the rain
or whatever.
washed everything away, though.
Exactly, the rain was washing. It was starting to do that. So there was that was coming in, but there was no trace even right after he had been found found to be missing.
Right.
So because of those heavy rains during the first day's search, and there was a lot of mist from that rain over the next few days, it did hurt the search.
Sure.
For little Dennis.
Yeah.
Like I said, up to 1,400 people were involved in this search effort.
God, that's a lot of people.
A ton of people, and and how far can a 6-year-old really walk? Even if he is. He's not going to be walking 5 miles away with all of that heavy rain. Maybe he would, but probably not, right? One thing they did say is could have been these 1,400 people, all of them trampling through this area, probably hurt the search efforts that they did have, because maybe some of the evidence
got walked on or moved. Yeah.
So it would have obscured some of the clues that they had.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a no-win situation.
It's a no-win. Yeah. They did find some footprints, but they were actually dismissed as being, little Dennis Martin's by park officials, who said that they actually think that it was left by a Boy Scout who was helping with the search. Once again, there's so many people there that it's actually hurting it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that comes up a lot in this search, are these footprints. They were automatically discounted because there were footprints that were an Oxford shoe and a bare foot. And the Oxford shoe was
Wait, did you say a bare foot?
Barefoot.
Oh, as in a bear.
His foot is bare.
Without shoes.
Yeah.
Yes, got it. Okay.
Sorry, not a bare foot. I should have distinguished that.
Okay, all right.
So Dennis was wearing an Oxford shoe.
Okay.
And they...
Oh, but that barefoot, the foot that has no shoe, is off because the searchers wouldn't have had with no shoes on.
Yes.
So that's a big clue.
Yes, it's a huge clue. It was so easily dismissed early on. But there's this retired park ranger, Dwight McCarter, who really took this case on and was like, what the hell happened to this kid? He looks back at that footprint and he's like, that was him. That was definitely this kid, because none of these Boy Scouts are going to be searching with a barefoot.
Exactly.
So you have one footprint that has the Oxford, the other one is barefoot.
Lost his shoe.
So they did find some, some traces, but it was so dismissed, right? By June 22nd, remember June 14th is when he goes missing. By June 22nd, 56 square miles had been covered.
Good Lord.
Ground had been covered. And more than 1,000 searchers continued to look until June 26th, when they started saying, well, no trace. We haven't been able to find anything. Chances are he's probably not around, right?
Yeah, like a bear got him or oof.
Yeah, something happened. Maybe, but it's still...
Mountain lion.
Yeah, mountain lion or one of those hogs.
Yeah.
The search was officially ended on September 14th, 1969. And as of 2022, it was still the largest search in the history of the Great Smoky Mountains.
Sorry, and what year did this happen?
This was in 1960. Let me just double check. 1969. Yeah.
When this event with this boy. 1969.
Yeah, Dennis Martin.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so there are, of course, many theories as to what happened to him. Of course, one easy one is that he had become lost and he died from exposure. It was a really cold night or some other cause, likely after that first night. And it's probably one of the more probable theories, right? Another theory is that, like, what do you think? Hungry bear.
Right, exactly.
Or a feral pig and was just carried off.
Yes.
Once again, there were no foot or no prints.
Right.
But could be likely. Another theory is that he was abducted and taken out of the park by something or someone.
Okay.
Which is why we're here. Right?
Yeah.
So this is actually a theory that Dennis's father believes himself.
Interesting.
The reason being is the afternoon that Dennis Martin disappeared, there was a tourist in the area named Harold Key. Him and his family were just camping in the area, and they heard an enormous, sickening scream. And shortly thereafter, they witnessed an unkempt, rough-looking man running up the trail near where the scream had come from. Okay. He was looking, the man was looking at the scream, and he sees this man totally disheveled. The man gets into a white car and speeds off in it. Now, park rangers and the FBI concluded that there was not sufficient evidence to actually link this, especially because it was 5 miles away from where the Martins were.
Interesting.
But the time of when this scream had occurred is not, we don't know. We don't know exactly what time it had happened. And they were looking, well, how would Dennis get there? You know, there's no trail connecting the two sites that they were in, but Dennis's father says, I think he was abducted. There's no way. I saw my son hide behind a bush.
Yeah.
And he was suddenly not there. Yeah. So he subscribes to that theory. Okay. Now, if he was abducted, this is where missing 411 stuff comes in. Missing 411 is a theory that Dave Paulides came up with. And what he started doing, Dave Paulides is an investigator. He was a detective or a police officer for years, and retired for 20 years. Retired and started to just get pet projects. Dave Paulides is also really well known for the Bigfoot phenomenon and searching for Bigfoot in places like the Great Smoky Mountains.
Okay.
So this was one of his cases, and he subscribes, now kind of a cop-out, sorry, Dave Paulides, but he says there's a lot of people who are missing and going missing in these national parks. We don't know exactly what it is, but we think that there could be something supernatural tied to it. Potentially Bigfoot.
Okay.
Potentially, you know.
I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
If we can't find, we don't know.
We have no idea, but he's been searching and saying there are an awful lot of missing people, just like, you know, Dennis Martin, this little boy who seemingly popped behind a little bush and fucking disappeared. Like, what happened to this kid?
Right.
A lot of these things will happen. A lot of these stories will happen, and we don't know what the hell's going on.
Right.
So Paulides has been searching for Sasquatch, which I know, kind of crazy. He started doing work on Bigfoot, and he's released a couple of Bigfoot books. And he's also founded the group, the North American Bigfoot Search. He's the director.
Oh my God.
He believes that Bigfoot is real. Okay. And he says that the world needs to understand that the North American Bigfoot Search, let's see here, that there's a study and that we have orchestrated the search that led to picking there's a researcher who did some DNA on Bigfoot. It was a study, and what ended up happening was results are inconclusive. Is there a Bigfoot, right?
Right. Always.
It's always that. So he's doing this. He also has like a television show. People start following him, and he has this pet project that is tied to missing 411. That's what he terms it. It's missing people within our national park systems. A park ranger had come up to him and was like, "Hey, I know that you have like these pet projects. You're retired. You've done the Bigfoot stuff. Clearly you're legit. So you should really look into missing people in national parks." He's like, "Okay, fine. I'm going to start looking at it." And there he starts seeing like, holy shit, there are a ton of people who are going missing. Historically, you can go on to missing people online. I forget, it's like NAMDA or something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember. But a lot of them go missing in like Yellowstone and all these national parks.
Yeah.
And he starts saying like he had uncovered multiple lines of evidence suggesting negligence on the park ranger staff's ability to actually find and locate people.
Well, that's not their like real job, though.
It's not their real job.
Yeah.
But also they don't seem to like the search methods that they use are maybe not as great as they should be, right?
Mm-hmm, sure.
So maybe that's why all these people are going missing. He then starts broadening his investigation and includes missing people from across the world. He's starting to say, okay, there's something else going on here. These mysterious sites worldwide are defying, some of these stories are defying logical and conventional explanations.
Ooh.
Yes. Now, Mr. Pallades, he does not yet have a theory. He says that he doesn't have a theory on what exactly is causing the disappearances.
Okay.
But he does say that, you know, what I do believe is like, I have like 3 theories, which you can buy to look on in my book. So I'm narrowing the case or the ideas of what is causing this down.
Okay.
There is one thing that I think is really important, and he does have a good point with. So the U.S. National Park Service does not keep a list of people that go missing in their parks. They don't have like a list of, okay, here are the people in Yellowstone who have gone missing that we haven't found. You know, they don't keep their own list.
Okay.
There is a database for incident and criminal reports, but it's not widely or consistently used within these park systems. Mm-hmm. And it does not interface with other criminal databases. So if there is someone who's, you know, let's say it's a serial killer who goes to these remote areas that people are hiking and just kills them and hides their bodies or whatever, there is no way to tie all of this information together, which he says is a problem.
Sure. It seems reasonable.
It seems pretty reasonable. What if I were a serial killer? I would definitely go to like an area that I knew well that didn't have cell phone service. Oh, by the way, I'm probably not going to be doing that, right? It's not the plan. But I mean, it makes total sense. You're a serial killer. You have people who oftentimes go hiking alone and bring all their stuff with them. So it's not like there is a trace of them. You can keep it pretty compact. And the evidence would be very easily washed away with either a storm or just time in general.
Right.
If the person leaves and they don't tell you where they're going, you wouldn't know where to search first. And these are massive parks. I mean, come on, the Great Smoky Mountains, 56 miles that they were searching.
Exactly.
So it's easy. Needle in a haystack, like you were saying. Now, I do think that there is some truth to there needs to be like a little bit more investigation around these missing people. There's actually another case that I wanted to talk about, which is about this guy. His name around Mount Shasta. So this man, which is Carl, I believe. Yeah. So Carl ends up going to with his friend to Mount Shasta. He's like, I'm gonna go. He's 69 years old, has done multiple hikes, and he goes with his friends and says, I'm gonna go and just summit. They've been hiking and they end up going to bed. Had some meals or whatever. He wasn't feeling super great. But he said, I couldn't sleep very well the next morning. And he tells his friends, I'm just going to start climbing the rest of the way to the summit. Carl Landers. And Carl and his friend Milt are there. And he says, I'm going to go. Milt says, yeah, whatever. We're going to continue packing up our campsite. Carl goes up, starts climbing, and they don't find him. There's no trace of Carl anywhere. In Mount Shasta, there are a bunch of people around. They try to conduct a search. They thought, well, maybe he just went all the way back down the mountain and is with his car. His car's still there. Everything that he owns is still there. They don't find anything belonging to him. And a couple questions come up. Where did Carl go? He has been a mountaineer. He knows what he's doing. How did he disappear? Couple potentials, I think. One, what if his friends did something? Right?
Oh, that's a possibility.
That's the only other person who was with him. Those people were the only people with him. So if they wanted to kill him, it would be pretty easy. Or he was not feeling super great and he didn't sleep very well. What if he just kind of fell off
into some cavern?
Into a cavern or something. It's funny you bring up caverns. That has to do with a theory with missing 411. So Carl Landers, I think, he was just an older dude, probably fell off, and there's just no trace. Maybe like a bear or something ate the rest of him. It is strange they didn't find anything from him, but there are some inconsistencies with the story and his friends retelling. It's not something like Dennis, the little boy who went missing, who literally disappeared behind a fucking bush and then had a huge search. There wasn't a huge search with Carl. Could have been potential evidence, but nothing was found, right? And this was, I think, 1999. So makes sense that there was no cell phone service because there were hardly any cell phones.
Right.
But they're in the middle of nowhere and he was never found. The problem with missing 411 is there are so many theories and no answers. So people say, could it have been Bigfoot? Or maybe there's a portal in some of these areas that people are, coming into. Like, for instance, Dennis Martin. Dennis Martin comes, pops behind a bush. Maybe he disappears into some kind of portal.
Hence no trace.
And he ends up being in a different dimension or something. That's one. Kind of think it's bunk. Do I want to believe in it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. But is it bunk? I kind of think it's probably bunk.
Yeah.
Another theory, which kind of ties into what you were saying with the caverns, is the fact that that there's huge cave systems underground.
Sure.
And a lot of them, if you superimpose the cave systems, which we will have in our show notes,
okay,
an image of the cave systems, and I'll show this to you.
Okay.
The cave systems over the national park areas. And they overlay pretty easily.
Oh.
So you see.
So what do the orange dots represent?
So it's missing 411 stuff, which is kind of funny. But that's where all the national parks are, missing cave systems, and missing people. So it seems to be a lot of these missing people are around the cave systems.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I'm showing you, if you're watching, I'm showing you. Yeah, they're all clustered right where the caves are.
Yep. and a lot of these caves are in the national parks.
Interesting.
Which makes sense.
Fascinating.
Because these are points of geological interest or, natural beauty. Of course, they would have cave systems underneath them.
Sure.
It makes sense. But all these people are going missing. So the cave system, does that have something to do with it? I think maybe there's some legs to this.
It could be.
Now, this is where shit gets weird.
Okay.
The cave systems, potentially people believe that there are people who live in these cave systems and they don't, of course, don't pay taxes or anything like that.
Okay.
And it's like an entire society that's down underground.
Entire society.
Yeah, like a bunch of folks live in these cave systems, off grid, and they're maybe snatching children or doing stuff like that. There's actually a story. This woman was saying that her mom said that a man actually had come bursting out of the hillside when she was a little girl at Carter Caves, which is in Kentucky. And he said that he had been wandering around underground for days and finally saw like light through the ground. They were actually the family was sitting there having a picnic. And this man comes out, just comes wandering out. He was a hiker and was like, I've been wandering around. I could not find my way out of this cave system. He comes out, and which makes sense. Of course you're in a cave. There's a cave system. If you didn't know the cave system, you wouldn't know how to get out of it. But if you were a hiker and you got lost in it, you could very easily perish in there, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe something like that with Carl Landers. But there are so many, they're saying different cave systems that potentially there's even, this is where it gets weird. And you're saying like secret underground military bases, and there are facilities and stuff underneath the ground in the United States in general. Once again, you bring the map up and people are saying, no, I know there's an underground base here. And actually, we have spoken about underground bases.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
They do exist.
Yeah, I think they do. This ties back to, weirdly, the DIA with the lizard people that live underground and snatch children for their...
right. For their needs, right?
Their
for their,
needs.
what is it? Their blood or whatever.
Yeah, there was they needed something to live or eat or survive or something. I can't remember.
I mean, look, are there probably subterranean, like legitimate bases or legitimate, where weapons are stored and stuff? Yeah. Duh. I mean, that's legit.
Yeah.
Is it Bigfoot snatching babies or a reptilian army snatching babies? And, is that what happened to Dennis, little Dennis Martin? Probably not. I thought that it would be fun to do a little bit of an episode on Missing 411, but the more and more you uncover, the more and more theories there are, and the less and less answers you have.
Yeah.
And
if anything, the more you dig, the crazier
and more extreme
and absurd at times the people, believe in some of this stuff too. That's just off the charts.
I'm sure that there are crazy, kind of kooky people who live in the cave systems, in the Great Smoky Mountains.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Which would not surprise me.
No.
Are they snatching children? Yeah. A la, what was that movie? I forget what it was called, but it was about this woman who snatched people and treated them like her babies. Anyways,
oh my God,
it was really scary. But is that actually happening? I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure. And poor Bigfoot getting brought into this whole spiel because David Paulides was on a quest to find him. I think that there are a ton of missing people who are going in these national parks. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Bring a fucking compass with you. Can we please learn how to remember we were talking about in the that flight with the
The soccer team?
The soccer team. Or wasn't it a rugby team?
No, it was a soccer team.
Okay, with the soccer team. And they went missing and they kept on they didn't know what they were doing. Their plane crashed. They ended up finally finding, because they were locating a body of water, follow the water or the road like you did.
Yep.
And know that's how you find civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So next time you're, hiking, if you get lost, look for a road or for
water.
For like water, and follow the water source, the creek or whatever, because you'll find civilization.
Let's talk about Bigfoot for just a hot second. Just a quick second. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Maybe. The answer is maybe. Do I think like there are so many like fakers out there? What I've seen, and we'll do like an entire actual like Bigfoot episode that's not tied to Missing 411. Do I believe that maybe Bigfoot could be like another dimensional like being? Maybe. There are people that I've heard that said, I don't believe in any of this shit. I'm a skeptic. I saw Bigfoot in my fucking backyard. It wasn't an ape. There was no
You
ape.
did?
No, not me. No. No, but people who are like, oh my God, I would be so scared. Be like, and there are people have the same stories. Like, they'll say things like, it smells really bad and it seems to pop in and kind of be as freaked out about you as you are about it.
Yeah.
And it pops out of wherever, like it seemingly disappears right in front of your eyes. We've talked about dimensions.
Yeah.
Why couldn't something like that exist? And it may be kind of...
Well, maybe that's why no one can get pictures of it very well or track it, because maybe it is like some dimensional thing.
Yeah. I think there maybe could be something. Like, once again, I want to believe in the fantasy.
I'm skeptical. I have to admit, I'm a super, super skeptic about the Bigfoot thing. But then I always fear being a skeptic, because then I look like a fool when it's real.
Right.
Like, don't be so skeptical. And
that's why I always say, like, I kind of tend to take like the cop out answer because I'm like, maybe, like then I'm not wrong or right.
Exactly.
Then I'm just incredibly neutral. I think that there could be something to it. And just like this missing 411 stuff, I do think that these people are going missing. And I think that there is something to it, whether it's a cave system, whether it's people who are really great serial killers, which
exist.
There are so many. Yeah, they exist. They absolutely exist. National parks would be a great place to kill people without a trace and to have fun with it if that was what you were into. And then there's also people who are fucking stupid and don't know what they're doing,
right,
and are ill prepared to camp or to hike. Like, they go on these like, big hikes to a summit like Mount Shasta, and are so ill prepared. I think that might be a lot more of the case. And honestly, like, do you deserve to be eaten by a wild boar or like a bear, like have a bear or a bobcat attack you? Not necessarily, but like maybe fucking Darwin, like, survival of the fittest or smartest, like fucking come on, people, so I don't know. I thought
fascinating. It could be lots of things, I guess.
Could be a ton, yeah. But if you've heard from or about seen any kind of Sasquatch, or if you've had your own missing 411 where you're almost a missing person like Kevin was, tell us about it. Go onto our website, www.thebizarreaf.com. You can leave if you click on the mic, you can actually leave a voicemail, and we will play it and explore the potential.
Would love to do that.
Yeah. So
great. Okay, cool.
Thanks for listening today.
Thanks for the episode.
Yeah. Be safe hiking, friends.
Please use some sense.
Thank you. Yeah.
See you guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.